Hello everyone! Today we're gonna put eyes on Warhammer Chaosbane. This game's an action RPG, where you kill enemies, you get loot, so we'll see how it goes. Let's create a new hero. Yeah, let's do it. Dual wielding axes. Hey, where's my mohawk? Well, that doesn't look nearly as impressive as it looked in the previous screen. Alright. Oh man, they've updated this since I last played it. That's going hard.
As a young dwarf in the great city of Karak, you were taught the legends of your ancestors. Ever since, you have longed for the day when you could win fame and glory of your own and restore the luster of your much diminished clan. When High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer called for warriors to aid Kislev during the Great Chaos Invasion, you were one of the first to pledge your service. Along with your father and your younger brothers, you left Karak behind, marching eagerly to war. It wasn't long before you were in the thick of the fight, trapped inside the city of Kislev. You and your kin fought fiercely against the Chaos Horde. When Kuhl's first assault breached the city gates, it was the dwarfs who led the counterattack that drove the enemy back and saved the day. Your fearlessness in battle earned you the name Axe Biter, and the Kislevites hailed you as
At least it's not Ankle Biter.
But the more you tasted of glory, the more you began to crave it. When Magnus's army arrived outside the city, your thirst for immortal fame ended in tragedy. Leading a force of 300 dwarfs, you tried to fight your way out of the city to join the Imperials and fight Kuhl's army together. It was a deed worthy of legend, but not even Grimnir himself could have fought his way through so vast a horde. Your reckless charge was driven back at a bitter cost. Half of the valiant dwarfs that had followed you were slain, including your father and all of your brothers. Racked with guilt over the deaths of your kin, you swore powerful oaths of vengeance against the dark powers. And so you chose the path of the Slayer, seeking redemption through a glorious death in battle. When the final battle outside the city walls began, you went forth alone to find Kuhl and challenge him to single combat. You carved a bloody path through the enemy, reaching the Chaos Lord in time to see him fall to Magnus and his knights. After the battle, you accepted an invitation from Magnus to join his retinue and return with him to Nuln. As far as you were concerned, the new Emperor owed you a glorious death, and with many of Kuhl's champions still alive, you could be sure Magnus would not lack for foes.
I like the art style of the intro. I would have liked a full-fledged cinematic, but that wasn't bad. And I liked the story.
It was an age of lawlessness and despair, a time of dark magic, treachery, and
It does have a lot of exposition, however.
It is a night made for witchery and evil deeds. And across the city, guardsmen clutch their weapons tightly and count the hours until the dawn. Sleep is hard to come by on a night such as this. The air is tense, and memories of the battle at Kislev leave you restless and on edge. Suddenly, a peal of thunder shatters the stillness, followed by a howling wind that shakes the tower to its foundations. Foul magic curdles the air, and screams echo in the courtyard outside. The tower is under attack.
What's all that noise? Let's take a look.
Here we go. I'm practicing. Shadow... well, not boxing, Axing? I don't know.
An attack! Ah, thank the ancestors. If it's Magnus they want, they'll have to go through me first. I'd best get to the throne room.
Aye, laddie. Let's go to the throne room. Alright. The game looks pretty good. I like the graphics. And for some reason, I remembered that the animations, the attack animations and the movement animations were not as smooth. But I'm not seeing that here. Okay. Oh, tutorials. Great. Didn't read, LOL. That's probably gonna be the motto of the channel at this point. Didn't read, LOL. Ah, yeah, okay, fine. Let's heal 17 hit points. What soldier?
Thanks, Sigma, you're here. There's monsters everywhere. The tower's being overrun.
I know, exhilarating, isn't it? Now where's Magnus?
Upstairs in the throne room, there's armor in a chest by the stairs. Take whatever you need, but hurry.
I don't know where the gear went. Maybe it equipped automatically? So far so good. It's what you would expect from an action RPG, hack and slash. Only it's the Warhammer universe, which I'm a fan of. Now, when I originally played it, I recall it felt a bit like a budget title. And that might still be the case, I don't know. But I think it plays well. Controls are responsive, graphics look good, and I get to be a dwarf dual-wielding axes. I mean, that's all good points.
As you reach the throne room, the air seethes with foul magics. The Chaos Sorceress stands before the throne, and Magnus, the savior of the Empire, is caught within her spell. There's only one thing to do. Roaring a battle oath, you ready your axe and charge! By the time you regain your senses, the battle is over. The Sorceress is gone, leaving you and Magnus for dead. The shouts of angry men fill the throne room. But these are not guardsmen. They are witch hunters, the Empire's feared inquisitors, led by none other than the infamous Heinrich Voss. You are under arrest for the murder of the Emperor Magnus, Voss declares. You try to tell him about the sorceress, but Voss refuses to listen. I see no sorceress here, he shouts. Only you and a room full of dead men. Confess your crimes, dwarf. Voss threatens. We will have the truth from you, one way or another. After a week in the dungeons, you'll tell me everything I want to know. But before the witch hunter could make good on his threat, a commanding voice filled the room. Stop this madness at once! Teglis, Lawmaster of the High Elves, regards Voss coldly. Raggy Axebiter has told you the truth, he said. It is you who have refused to listen. Teclis examines Magnus in silence. He lives, thank the gods, the High Elf says at last. But he is in the grip of a powerful curse. It is only a matter of time before he succumbs. No one outside this room must know what happened here. If the people learn that Magnus has fallen, then everything he fought for will have been for nothing. The fate of the Empire lies in our hands. We must find this sorceress and end the curse before it's too late. If Magnus dies, the Empire dies with him. There are dark and terrible forces at work in the city, Braggy Axebiter. If we are to find the sorceress and defeat her, we must confront the dark cult that has taken root in Nuln and expose its secret master.
Just tell me where I can find them, elf. My axe will take
Spoken
care of the
like a
rest.
true dwarf.
The attack on the tower came from the sewers that stretch beneath the city. So long as the enemy controls the tunnels surrounding the tower, our position here is vulnerable.
Why must there always be sewers?
Your first task is simple. Enter the tunnels and drive the cultists back from the tower. Kill everything in your path, but beware. There is no telling what foul things await you in the darkness.
Oh, they will taste my axe.
Ha! By Grimnir, I hope you're right.
Anyway, lots of exposition. Takes a while to get started. And to be honest, these days I don't play action RPGs for the story. It's nice to have, but I mainly like the farming and the leveling up. Now, if the story is good along those things, well, all the better. So we're off to the sewers.
If those cultists I need to fight!
Like in every good RPG, when you're starting, you kill rats. And those things. I don't know what they are, but they're dead. So fairly basic, or fairly standard I should say. You get your damage meters, you get your gold dropping from the barrels. That's a trope in itself. Every game you're breaking all the barrels. Doesn't matter if it's an action RPG, a hack and slash game, or a serious RPG. Well, not serious, but more classic immersion and all that stuff.
I must return to the fight!
Now, the game will not be for everybody. Because as these games are, they do get fairly repetitive. You're just doing the same thing and using the same skills over and over. Opening containers, getting loot, and so forth. But if you think about it, most of the games are like that. You learn some things and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over throughout the game. Now, there's games with more variety than others. To me personally, it doesn't bother me that games don't have a lot of variety. And if the game I'm currently playing, let's say this one, I feel like it has not enough variety for my tastes, I just go play something else. Action RPGs, I think, boil down to the fact if you enjoy grinding or if you hate grinding. If you enjoy it, you'll play it, and if you don't, you'll probably just stay away or hate it. Or both. And also there's the fact that I'm level 3, so there's not a lot of options at this point in the game. When I originally played it, I got pretty far. I got to a pretty decent level. I never got to the end game. But I do recall that the abilities, like in most action RPGs, you just stick with a particular set of skills acquired over a long career. And you just go with that. And I'm not saying that for this game particularly. It's just something that's always present in these types of games. There is a path that's the most effective, and that's what players stick to. But on this game I honestly couldn't say, because I never reached the end game.
I need to fight.
Still, so far so good. This is one of those games that I go at it to relax. Just go hack a few enemies, gain some levels, do dwarf things, dual wield axes. It's a good way to pass time. Is it the next masterpiece? No. Doesn't need to be. As far as I'm concerned, you can be playing a B or C rated game with terrible controls, but if you enjoy it, what's the problem? I put a lot of time in games, in action RPGs, throughout the years. My favorite is still Diablo 2, the original. And while this game is not... it's not that. It is not unenjoyable. There are of course bosses, and they have phases, and they can get pretty hectic. I recall dying a couple times to the first boss. It had some interesting attack patterns and hit really hard. Hey, okay, we finally got some gear. Look at that. No, not that. The other one. Look at that face. Or look at that beard. Now, I don't think I've ever played this game with the mouse. I've always used a controller. That may be the problem. But the game does feel like it was tailored for console, not necessarily for PC. Which at this point, I mean, I play enough games with controller and with keyboard that I really don't care. As long as it plays well, there's really no difference what controller you use. So just stick to what works for you on that regard. Now, the one real criticism I have for this game, something that I didn't really like, was that it didn't feel like a cohesive adventure. It's broken up in missions. So you go down there and you return, but you don't get the feeling that you're traveling this world and going on an adventure. Not really a problem, I mean, Vermintide is the same way. And in the beginning, when I played the first Vermintide, I didn't like it because of that. It was not an FPS with a story, like, for as simple as it might have been. And I'm thinking of Doom here. You just get some text and then off you go. And then you finish the game and you get a wall of text. And then off you go to the second episode. But in Diablo 2, you would walk out to the world, and it feels different from this. Now, to me, it's not a deal breaker. I still enjoy this game, but there is that. I also don't know if I have it on the highest graphics settings, but I can definitely say that it plays well. If you like Warhammer and action RPGs, you're probably gonna like it. I just don't know anything about the endgame because I never reached it. So, yeah, if you like what you saw, give it a go. You may find a game to pass the time and enjoy a few days or afternoons or wherever it is you play, hacking chaos monsters or frying them with magic or filling them with arrows. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check the options just to see if the graphic settings are maxed, but I'll do that later. For now, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.